In this video, we'll visit Caesars Head State Park in South Carolina to cover the Ravencliff Falls Trail and the Frank Coggins Trail. The Ravencliff Falls Trail covers a distance of about 4.5 miles out and back with a moderate difficulty rating, while the Frank Coggins Trail is an easy to moderate trail with a total distance of about 2 miles round trip. Both trails connect with other trails in the area for additional hiking options. There's a number of sights to see in what we'll be covering. Ravencliff Falls Trail leads to an overlook of the falls in the distance, and Frank Coggins Trail, while not as spectacular, takes you by the top of Cliff Falls and by Firewater Falls. With that, visiting this park also offers the option of stopping by Caesars Head Overlook and the Devil's Kitchen right off the parking lot at the Visitor Center. The park itself is on the South Carolina side of the North and South Carolina border in the Mountain Bridge Wilderness area that both Caesars Head and Jones Gap State Parks are in. The park is about an hour from both Asheville, North Carolina and Greensville, South Carolina, and about 2.5 hours from both Charlotte, North Carolina and Columbia, South Carolina. The Visitor Center for the park is just off Highway 276. If you're hiking the Frank Coggins Trail, you'll park here and can access the trail just across the street. Parking for the Ravencliff Falls Trail is 1 mile up the highway from the Visitor Center. Parking is limited for the Ravencliff Falls Trail, but there is additional parking not far from the main parking area if needed with a trail that connects back. You'll find parking along the highway is not a good option. As mentioned, there are multiple trails running through the wilderness area in addition to these trails, with a nearly 30-mile trail loop option spanning both parks, which you can see here that gives you an idea of the size of the area. One additional note is that there is a small fee to hike at the park, so check the park's website for current fees and details. Starting with Ravencliff Falls Trail, keep an eye out for the sign for the parking area off the highway, which again can be limited. Once parked, the trail begins just across the road from the exit of the main parking area. The trail is well traveled and is marked with red blazes and begins on a slight decline on gravel. Once beyond the initial trail segment, the trail begins transitioning through slight inclines and declines as you work your way along the 2-mile path to the overlook. Early on, you'll find the surrounding area is very lush with mountain hydrangea blooming along the trail in the summertime. At roughly the 1.5 mile mark, you'll find a trail junction with the Gum Gap Trail. Bear left here to continue on the Ravencliff Falls Trail. Near the 2-mile mark of the trail, there's a junction with the Dismal Trail. You could take this trail to connect to the Natural Land Trust Trail for a very strenuous hike that loops around the falls and back on the Gum Gap Trail. From here, however, we'll continue on to the right to continue to head to the Ravencliff Falls Overlook. At the overlook, you'll find a nice viewing deck of the falls in the distance, along with a covered shelter you can sit in and enjoy the view and rest if you'd like. Once done, make your way back the way we came, keeping left at the Dismal Trail Junction, and then right at the Gum Gap Trail Junction to make your way back to the main parking area. For the Frank Coggins Trail, park at the Visitor Center for the park and head across the road near the exit of the Visitor Center to find the main trailhead. The trail begins on gravel and is well traveled and is marked with purple blazes. Elevation slightly declines for the first portion of the trail, and about a half mile in you'll come across a junction with the Cold Spring Connector Trail. Bear right from here to continue on. You'll then reach the tip of the loop portion of the trail. You can head either way, but we'll make our way to the left clockwise. At the top of the loop heading left is the top of Cliff Falls, which is a small waterfall with a bridge to traverse over. Continuing on, there's a junction with the Rim the Gap Trail to the left. This trail continues on over 4 miles to the Jones Gap State Park. Bearing right, we continue on and begin a slight climb and then find Fire Waterfalls. This is a small waterfall, but an area to enjoy before carrying on. Not far from here, you'll come across a trail junction with the Natural Land Trust Trail that splits to the left and will head to the right. You'll then reach the top of the loop again and make your way to the left to head back to the Visitor Center. Your trek back from here is at a slight and steady incline as you'd make your way back to the Visitor Center. At the Visitor Center, head to the end of the parking lot and you'll find a short path to Caesar's Head Overlook. This can be very crowded with people stopping at the Visitor Center just to enjoy this site and use the restroom, but this is one of the best views in the park to enjoy. Just beyond the overlook is the Devil's Kitchen site, which is a narrow split through the rock that you can walk through, and it gets its name from lore that the crevice was created by the devil spilling a hot beverage on the mountain. With that, thank you for watching. These trails are a great option if looking for moderate and somewhat shorter hikes with a few overlooks and views in the area, with potential to take additional trails for longer hikes, and will cover additional hikes in the future.